Hey, you guys, welcome back to my channel. And this topic is going to be a part of the topic that I initiated before for the diseases of blood. Okay, so these are the contents that I'm going to be discussing in this topic. If you guys have not seen the previous video, I will leave the link in the description box below. Please go and check them out. Okay. So the first topic that I'm going to be discussing here is agranulocytosis. So this is the condition where there is severe neutrophil depletion. Okay. So why these neutrophils are destroyed? Okay. As I mentioned earlier, neutrophils are the cells that fights against infection. Okay. So these cells are destroyed when a patient takes any kinds of drugs for chemotherapy, or if the patient is hyperthyroid and if they're taking anti-thyroid drugs like propylthiouracil, methimazole and carbimazole. The reason why I'm mentioning these drugs here is this is very important. This is one common question that comes in boards where they ask patient is the hyperthyroid patient and has severe gingival infections, and what is the existing condition. So when they give that kind of question, you guys should be able to answer the condition agranulocytosis. Okay. So the most common symptoms that you see in agranulocytosis would be fever, chills, and increased risk of infection because of neutrophil depletion. So gingival infection in relation to oral cavity, gingival infection resembles something called as ANUG, which is acute necrotizing ulcerative gingivitis. So it resembles ANUG-like lesions. Okay, so the adequate treatment for this agranulocytosis would be to stop the drugs and take antibiotics. Next condition that I'm going to be discussing is erythroblastosis fetalis. Okay, so this happens in two stages. Okay, so this doesn't happen during the first pregnancy. It happens during the second pregnancy. Okay, so let me explain it to you guys. So when the dad has Rh positive blood and the mother has Rh negative blood, the baby ends up having Rh positive blood. Okay, so what happens in this scenario is mother is Rh negative, the baby is Rh positive. So what happens here? During pregnancy, there are no issues, but when the mother delivers the baby, there will be a breach in placenta, and this Rh positive blood goes to the mother's blood, and she develops Rh positive antibodies. Okay, because she's Rh negative. So this happens during her first pregnancy. So the first pregnancy, the child does not have any symptom. So first pregnancy, the mother develops antibody. Then what happens? During the second pregnancy, the baby is again Rh positive. So what happens now? So mother already has Rh positive antibodies. So when she delivers the baby, this Rh positive blood reaches the mother, and what happens? She has Rh positive antibody, and this goes and destroys the Rh positive cells in the baby. Okay, so now there is the second baby has severe anemia. So during the first pregnancy, there is no issues, but after the second, third, or fourth, all the babies will have these issues. Okay. So in this condition, the most common symptom seen is severe anemia and kernicterus. The newborn baby has the jaundice. Neonatal jaundice is called as kernicterus, and the spleen is enlarged. Okay, so oral manifestation in erythroblastosis fetalis would be the teeth are discolored due to the severe anemia. The teeth are discolored, and jaundice. The teeth are discolored green or yellow or blue, along with enamel hypoplasia. So the adequate treatment for this would be after they grow up. Due to for the cosmetic appearance, crowns or root canal and crowns would be recommended. Okay, moving on to pernicious anemia and megaloblastic anemia. Before we jump into anemia, we need to know certain things. For vitamin B12 absorption, you need intrinsic factor. Okay, so the deficiency of intrinsic factor is called as pernicious anemia. Deficiency of vitamin B12 is called as megaloblastic anemia. Okay, so this intrinsic factor, along with vitamin B12, forms a component called thymidine, which is a very important component in DNA. Okay, so deficiency due to this intrinsic factor or vitamin B12 might produce symptoms like glossitis, which is inflammation of tongue. They also have angular cheilitis, dysphagia, difficulty in swallowing, burning mouth, altered taste. Okay, so the most common type of glossitis seen in this type of anemia is called as Hunter's glossitis or Moeller's glossitis. Okay, this is also very important for the boards. The adequate treatment for this type of anemia would be intramuscular injection of vitamin B12. Next condition that we're discussing would be polycythemia vera. So we've discussed all the anemias where there is decreased amount of hemoglobin, but polycythemia vera is a condition where there is increased amount of red blood cells. So this happens when one type of condition where this happens is when a person goes to higher altitude, they get this disease because decreased amount of oxygen. So this disease is called as Osler's disease in that case. Okay. So this polycythemia vera is of two types, primary and secondary. Primary is due to increased production of these cells in the bone marrow. Secondary is due to other conditions like if there is any tumor or heart disease or high altitude. So this is a picture depicting a normal amount of red blood cells and increased amount of red blood cells in the blood. So how exactly this is going to affect the body? So when there is normal amount of blood, the blood viscosity is normal and it flows into the vessels. When there is increased amount of red blood cells, the viscosity becomes thicker and the blood is not able to flow in the blood vessels. Okay. So due to this, in relation to oral cavity, you have gingival bleeding, swelling, mucosa is red, you might have petechiae, ecchymosis or purpura. The adequate treatment for this condition would be phlebotomy, meaning you remove blood from the veins, thereby you reduce the amount of blood cells. Okay. Uh, Very important topic in relation to leukemia. Okay. So a lot of questions arises from this topic. Okay. So I'm going to be talking about only the very important points that needs to be covered. There are four types of leukemia, guys. Acute myeloid leukemia, acute lymphocytic leukemia, chronic myeloid leukemia, chronic lymphocytic leukemia. Okay, so acute myeloid leukemia is a condition where it's the most malignant type and it affects the adults. Whereas acute lymphocytic leukemia is a condition which is most responsive to therapy and this affects the children and this reaches at peak for the children at 4 years. When you see chronic lymphocytic leukemia, it's the least malignant, but it is most common. And chronic myeloid leukemia is a condition where you need to remember something called as Philadelphia chromosome. It is associated with the Philadelphia chromosome. This is a very important question again. So this chromosome where happens when the chromosome number 9 and chromosome number 22 has translocation of each of their chromosome. The picture exactly shows here where chromosome 9's band is translocated with chromosome 22 band. Okay, so this chromosome is associated with chronic myeloid leukemia. And the symptoms that are most commonly seen in all types of leukemia is spontaneous gingival bleeding. So when a patient comes in and says, I have too much gingival bleeding without even brushing and all of that, you have to examine for all these signs and symptoms. Okay, spontaneous gingival bleeding, petechiae, gingival hyperplasia. Okay, immediate treatment is required for all these kinds of leukemia. So please pay attention. The adequate treatment for this condition would be radiation therapy or bone marrow transplant, depending upon the stage of involvement. Okay. All right, you guys, good luck for all your exams. Please drop a like if you like the video, and please subscribe to my channel if you're new. I will meet you guys with another topic another day. Until then, take care. Bye, guys.